Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be learning about single responsibility principle, which is one of the solid principle. So first, let's start with the definition. So the definition of single responsibility principle says that a class should have only one reason to change. That is, it should have only one responsibility. Let's try to understand this definition with the help of one example. So here I have one user class which has some attributes like name, email, and password, and it will also have getters and setters for those attributes. Apart from that, it has multiple responsibilities. One responsibility is to interact with the database, another is to send the email, and the third is to log the particular message. Right. So this one class is handling multiple responsibilities, which is against the single responsibility principle. So what's the big deal in this? Why can't one particular class have multiple responsibility? So let's check the drawback of having multiple responsibilities into the same class. So I've listed 4 drawbacks. There can be many more, but I've listed 4 drawbacks. So first one is tightly coupled. So currently there are 3 responsibilities, right? Saving to the database, sending the email, and logging. Now all these particular functions are using the same attributes like name, email, password. Since they are using the same attribute, so if this particular function that is saving to database manipulates this particular uh, but, uh, attribute like email, obviously it will affect the logging function as well, right? Because they are using the same attributes. Hence, all these responsibilities are tightly coupled. Okay. Now, second is since all these responsibilities are tightly coupled, so if you make any change to this particular function that is saved to the database, then obviously you need to test this particular function. Plus, you will have to test all the different functions which are available in this class because they are tightly coupled. Okay. So if you change this logging function, then you will have to change, you will have to test all the different functions like save to database and send welcome email because they are tightly coupled. The third drawback is you can have merge conflicts. So let's say one employee is handling all the functionalities or all the functionalities related to the database, and the other employees is handling the email and logging related stuff. So both will come to this particular class file and edit the code, right? So if they both edit the code at the same time, then we could have a merge conflict when they commit, right? So this was the third particular reason or drawback. The fourth one is we can't reuse the functions. Like for example, this logging logic, let's say it is needed in the some other class like order class in order to print or in order to log a particular message. Then you can't, you have to again use the same function and copy paste the code, right? So we are not able to reuse the logic, right? So these are some of the drawbacks when you introduce multiple responsibility into same class, right? I hope you understood this part. So till now we have covered what is a single responsibility principle and why do we need it. So now let's see how to achieve the single responsibility principle. So this user class has multiple responsibilities. So what I did was I have segregated these responsibilities to multiple classes. So this user class now will just have the attributes like name, email, and password. and the getters and setters for those attributes. Then we would have user repository, which would perform CRUD operations on the database. Okay. Then we would have one logger class, which would handle logging related stuff. And same with the email service as well. This class would handle email related stuff. So we have segregated all the responsibilities like this. Now, because we have segregated the responsibilities into multiple classes, we have basically eliminated all these drawbacks. Okay. So I hope you understood this single responsibility principle. Now let's check out the code. So here I have one user class which has the attributes, one constructor, and the getters and setters. So user class will only handle the data. There would be no logic in this particular class. Then we would have user repository class, which would have CRUD operation like saving, deleting, updating, and reading. Okay. We would also have one logger service class, which would log a particular message. Now we can reuse this particular logger into multiple classes, right? Same thing with the email as well. So we have segregated the email logic as well. So this email service will have one function called as send welcome email. So this is how we have segregated the responsibilities into multiple classes in order to achieve single responsibility principle. So finally, we would have one user service class which handles all the business logic. So let's say we have one register user function. So this function will first hash the password, create the user object, save that user into the database, then send the welcome email to the user and log the message, right? So I hope you understood the single responsibility principle. If you did, then please like the video and share this with your friends. Thanks.